Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. How you doing? My name is Brian Gallardo, and this is Assignment 6, Report to Management from Gemstar Productions Incorporated. Our first slide is an overview of what we'll be discussing throughout this presentation. Our first topic will be our balance sheet, and the balance sheet's indicating a detailed and organized statement that shows what's currently going on within Gemstar's assets, liabilities, and capital business procedures. Second topic, we'll be discussing about Gemstar's financial statement, profit and loss statement. We'll be discussing about its operating results from a specific period of time and event. We'll also be in depth detail about Gemstar's cash flow. We'll be talking about the operating, investment, and financing activities within Gemstar. And finally, we'll be discussing about my thoughts and opinions throughout Gemstar's business operations. I'll be giving my management point of views on what needs to be improved and the mandatory steps in order to see a higher profit within Gemstar. So our first slide is right here is our balance sheet, and there are three things that we should be focusing on. First is our assets, our liabilities, and equities. As you can see, are looking at our assets and liabilities, equities, we have to be looking for our company's current ratio. And that current ratio that we're looking for will be getting that number by dividing Gemstar's current assets with its current liabilities, and we result a number of 11.24 or 1,124%. That's the number that we'll be able to pay back any debts in a short period of time. Uh, I think it's a number that's somewhat fair. It's a very, very high percentage, but like I said, it's one of those numbers that's what we got from. Another thing that we'll be looking at is the working capital within Gemstar, which is 47,680, and we got that number by subtracting its current assets from its current liabilities. Another important thing that we need to look at is also the debt to assets. The amount of assets required to be sold in order to pay off any debts will be 67.1%. So that means we have to sell 67.1 of our assets in order to pay off any debts. Another thing that we'll be looking at is our return on assets, which is at 2.7. That's pretty much from the management department. Whatever the management earns, and they use that to reinvest into any events or assets or whatever. To me, I think that number is pretty low. I think the management should be using a lot more than just 2.7 from the earnings that they receive. That's just something that will just introduce more business flow throughout Gemstar's production. Another thing that we'll be looking at is the return on equity, which is at 9.1%, and the return on equity is at 9.1%. We measure that number by dividing the annual net income by its common stockholders. And the common stockholders right there, you can see it's at 20,000, and the net income is at 1,833 and 12 cents. Another thing that we'll be looking at now is also our profit and loss sheet. In this profit and loss sheet, we're looking at the income statement report from Gemstar Productions, and it seems to have a low profit income of $1,833.12. The company is profitable, but not reaching an amount that is satisfying as a business owner. Each account at Gemstar showed an increase or decrease from the given budget limits. For example, the the equipment rental surpassed its budget limit by $250 due to special orders by a customer. Salaries expense increased by 200 for some of the employees that received overtime shifts. Another thing that surpassed its budget limit was the office supplies by $166.67 due to rink refill, and also due to special order flyers from customers. Um, Another thing that we surpassed our limit by was our insurance. It increased by $200. The reason why is because of the parking violations and driving points deductions within our monthly insurance rate. Another thing that cost us a lot, actually didn't cost us, but we saved a little bit, was from our interest expense. Usually it costs 250, but we actually reduced that payment by $16.67 in order to pay other liabilities. And our monthly utility bill surpassed its budget limit by $20 because of extra water usage. And as you can see right there, it shows the budget that we have given it and the difference within the those numbers. Now we're going to be looking also into our statement of cash flow. Gemstar's production provides and uses a total cash amount of 50,700 within the company's boundaries. Majority of that cash comes from the operating department within that uh, statement. As you can see right there are three things: operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. Operating activities has a total net cash amount of $44,653.12. Uh, from that amount, those $500 used in order to leave a deposit for a venue for an upcoming event. In the financing activities, the overall common stock funds reached a total amount of 20,000, and that's pretty much how much the stockholders invested, which was 20,000 cash. And in the investing activities, after investing and purchasing a company truck, the total amount of net cash used was $13,953.12. That number also included the depreciation fee of $296.88. And now, since we have all these details of balance sheets, statement of cash flow, and loss of profit, um, I think in order to maintain business and to increase business, we just got to continue keeping the momentum alive. And what I mean is just continue to have organization. Without organization of the invoices of sales and anything else within vendors and employees, I think it's just something really important to remember. Organization is key. Another thing is security and authorizations. In order to not kill time or anything like that, it's better to just make sure someone already verified some work or any procedures and to move forward from there. Another thing is to stay up to date. You want to stay up to date with your employees and your customers. Have their new up to date email or phone numbers just in case you need to reach them for any emergencies. Also, reports. I know reports from management is something really important, but also I think we should start training the new upcoming management or the interns and have them report to each other and develop the skill of making sure keeping track and making sure that you know that you're going to be able to report anytime at any given moment. Another thing is we have to also create new strategies to create new marketing and advertisement to bring in new clientele and to keep clientele happy. Let them know that yeah, we're in the accounting business, but at the same time, we have different accountants or accounts that we can focus on too. Another thing is also be more tech savvy. The reason why being more tech savvy is because we had to be able to protect intellectual property and passwords from customers and from employees. Also, we have to be able to be up to date with policies from required state policies and procedures in order to not violate any laws, anything like that, and also report any fraud, waste, or abuse within company boundaries. You know, the company is spending all this money for different things, so we don't want to abuse anything like that. And last but not least, communication within all departments is something really important. I think everybody should know what's going on at all times, and having a stronger communication throughout the departments is just going to make a better environment to work at. So those are my things, and thank you for listening.